This is an insane
Preston,
take.
we're scrapping the episode. We're just not going to release an episode this week. And the Zoom meeting.
They're not good.
Welcome to Drafted. My name is Daniel Prentice, and I am your host. And as always, I am joined by my good friend and co-host, Preston Thompson. Preston, how are you doing this week, and what are you drinking, my friend?
So good, Dan. Coming off a week where we didn't have a show, but we had a live stream that was super fun. And I love that so much. It's almost, it's not preferable, but it's very fun to do those live streams. I love it a whole lot.
Yeah, it was fun. You can check it out on our YouTube, youtube.com/draftedpod if you missed the live show.
Yes. I am drinking just a little bit of bourbon with a splash of lemonade in it, which I've never tried before, but it's delicious. So
that sounds good.
I don't know what it is. Maybe I just invented something. So TM.
No,
and I'll sell it for $1 million. That's true. Nobody's ever had an original idea since like the year 830 AD or something.
Yeah, that's actually the exact year.
Yeah.
Things stopped being invented.
Yeah, that was sliced bread was right then.
I am an absolute sucker for lemonade, so that actually sounds quite good. We are joined this week, Preston, by a brand new guest, a good friend of mine. He is now a manager of player development for the NBA, so I think he has the coolest moniker of any guest we've ever had. He also is the former host of a little podcast called the Sports Interns Podcast. If you really dive deep into the internet, you could probably find it and maybe hear a younger Daniel Prentice as his co-host. Jon Wolf. Jon, thanks so much for joining us. How are you doing, and what are you drinking tonight?
Doing all right. Thanks for having me, guys. I mean, it's a huge pleasure. Daniel, you don't look like you've aged a day. You know, seven years ago.
I wish I could say the same for you, Jon.
I know, it's tough.
No, I'm kidding. He looks as fresh faced as he does. He did what, 6 years ago he graduated? Jesus Christ.
I know. It took me 6 years to graduate, but then 6 years ago I finally. Yep. I'm drinking a little bit of local. It's called Threes Brewing up here in New York, and it is a Pilsner. It's called Vliet. Believe it or not.
Bleat
not sure what
Bleak
Vliet stands for.
That
Vliet,
sounds like a trendy Silicon Valley app. Like,
it
have you
might be.
Vleeted today? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's got some waves on it. It's a very pretty can, that's for sure. I'm a little disappointed. I thought I was going to get the Preston hot toddy today because I did. You really can't have a hot toddy without lemon.
I've been so scared off of trying anything at all.
Wow, Jon listened to the show. Incredible.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, that is one of the running through lines of our show that I don't like. So I'm trying to remove that plot line.
But now it seems like we're depriving new guests of like the full drafted experience if you aren't drinking a hot toddy.
If you're not making fun of Preston in the first 3 minutes, like, why are you even coming on the show? You know, what are you doing?
Right, exactly. Jon knows our brand. I find I keep forgetting to say my drink. I am drinking an Allagash North Sky Stout. I had two of my very best friends went up to Maine, Ryan and Bobby, avid and loyal fans of the show. They went up to Maine for like a week and a half and brought me back some beers. And I very rarely drink stouts because they fill me up, you know. And usually when I'm drinking a beer, like I'm drinking like to get a little tipsy, you know. And it's hard to do that on 1.5 stouts, I find. But this one is very good, and I feel like it's perfect for this setting. So we all have our beverages. We're all good. We're all acquainted now. Preston, what are we drafting this week?
This is a much anticipated one. I think a lot of people have recommended something like this. We're just keeping it simple here.
Uh-huh.
Tonight we are drafting movies on the IMDb Top 100 in which we are forced to pick 6 for the rest of our lives. The rest of our lives, we will only be able to watch these 6 movies. Now, there's 2 things we need to get out of the way really quick.
Okay.
The IMDb Top 100 is a weird-ass list. Like,
it's pretty weird.
It is by almost no consensus the top 100 movies ever made. Like there's just nobody in the world who has to think that's true. Like, the thing I think that made me the most angry looking through it is that Joker made the list, and I'm saying that knowing that one of you two may end up picking that. I really hope you don't.
No, not a chance in hell.
How did that make it makes no sense to me. It's like, oh yeah, Joker, and then Casablanca, and I was like, those two things don't belong together.
No,
none of this makes sense.
It's very clear looking at the list that there's like a very stark bias towards a very certain type of movie.
Yeah,
like
which is like a
every
24-year-old dude, basically.
Yeah,
That's it.
Straight white, early 20s guy. That's very accurate.
For sure.
So there's like a lot of Christopher Nolan on the list.
Oh, tons.
Like,
I don't think he has a
I
movie
think
not
basically
on the
every
list.
Christopher Nolan movie he's ever made is on the list.
Yes.
Which, maybe one or two Christopher Nolan movies should be in there, but I don't know. I'm sure we'll get to that specifically.
I think there are 7 that are Christopher Nolan movies.
Jesus.
It's crazy.
Okay. Well, are we all prepared? Do we have any questions for how this is going to go down?
I mean, I just want to say up front, like, this is the most subjective thing I think we may have done up to this point. I'm just going to pick stuff I like. So, tweet at me if you want, but, like, I'm just going to take stuff I like. Because a lot of this stuff, like, I can recognize that these older movies are, like, great films, but I don't go out of my way to watch them all the time. Like, I think that's the thing we're going to struggle with is 6 movies for the rest of your life. Do you take the real kind of artsy, deep, or provocative thing, or do you take the thing that you just enjoy, watching, like, every, 2 years?
We're going to learn a lot about each other here. Yeah, I do have a question. There's a lot of, like, trilogies or, 5-part movies on this list. Are we allowed to trade draft picks?
Ooh, whoa.
This has never been asked on the show before, I don't think. Somehow.
Yeah, are you allowed to trade draft picks?
I think it would get a little complicated.
I think it would. I mean, because the thing is like, I think we would trade out of universe stuff, right? Like, John, like drop your Venmo in the chat and give me your first round
cash
pick.
consideration.
Yeah, I'll trade you for $10, 10 real world dollars.
Yeah.
I actually that sparked a question for me. For this exercise, are we starting from ground zero in terms of movies? Like, are we saying like you're born into the world and these are the 6 movies you've ever seen? Because there are a lot of sequel movies. But my question is, like, if I pick, let's just say, one of the Star Wars movies, and, like, watching Star Wars Episode 5 is very different if you have previously in your life seen Episodes 4 and 6, etc., even if you never get to watch them again.
So I think I think it's easier to start at this point in our lives.
Okay.
But I will say, I think if you draft a movie that's part of a set or series, you should get the other movies in that series that made the list. So if you got Star Wars, you wouldn't get Star Wars 1 through 9.
That changes a lot.
But you would get all the Star Wars movies that are on the list. Like, you could. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to have Godfather Part 1 and 2 be like. I know they're different movies. They have different attributes about them, but should they really be different picks?
I think they have to be. I think it changes my draft too much to do it that way.
Really?
It changes the value of movies drastically. Yeah, like if you're picking 6 movies to be the 6 movies you watch for the rest of your life, but all of a sudden one movie is actually worth 4 movies, then that it changes everything.
Okay.
Yeah. I kind of set up some strategy there as well, because like you could see, if it were just 3 movies, you can pick the first and the third. Most of the time you don't really.
The
need
2 is
the second
extremely
one, right?
skippable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, then we'll leave it at you get just the movie you have selected, and if you want to try and complete the set, if you want to draw all 5 cards of Exodia, then like go for it.
But we are operating in a world where we have, if we've seen the movie,
Yes.
we have seen the movie. Okay.
It's starting from today. Yeah.
Okay.
It would be a bit strange if you were just like birthed and then decided to have The Godfather on your list. I mean, that's kind of a
Or
weird
just The
movie.
Godfather
Odd
Part
choice
2.
for a newborn, for sure.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, it seems that we've gotten all of the potential speed bumps evened out. So now the draft order is me. I get the first pick for the first time this season. That's exciting. John gets pick number 2, and Preston gets pick number 3. And then, of course, as always, it's snake style, so it's going to come back in the opposite order for even rounds.
I will say, Preston, you're in a good spot for exactly what we just talked about for sequels.
If I want to get a set. If I want to get a set, I can get a set.
Back to
I have
back.
to think about
That's
that.
smart.
Because
Okay.
I was kind of hoping I would just be able to... No, never mind. Cheat the system like I always do.
So we're going to get right into it here. I think I'm about to just fuck over Preston hard. I feel like I know exactly what his number 1 movie is. I don't have a clear number 1. Well, no, that's not true. I do kind of have a clear number 1, but I'm very confident it's going to come back to me. So I'm going to take the movie that I actually don't love that much, but I'm tired of losing this season, and I'm going to take The Dark Knight, which is the number 3 movie all time on the IMDb list. I feel like it's very rewatchable. I actually don't even love it nearly as much as a lot of people do. Preston does look a little relieved. I think he was worried.
That was not the top of my board. It was certainly on there because I think it.
Okay.
For me, like the superhero guy, it has to be on there somewhere. But
okay. Yeah.
It's good. I mean, I was having this conversation with somebody else. Is it the best superhero movie ever made?
No, I actually think The Dark Knight is pretty overrated. I'll be honest with you. I think Heath Ledger entirely makes that movie, and outside of Heath Ledger, it's like a pretty forgettable movie.
I think I disagree with that.
People lose their minds to it, and so I feel like picking it, I'm going to get a shitload of votes.
I think as a standalone movie, like where you don't need context, like you don't need Batman Begins to watch it, and you don't need Dark Knight Rises to watch it. As a standalone movie, I think it's probably the best superhero movie that's ever been made. I feel pretty good about that because other people would come out and just say like, you know, Avengers End Game, but that doesn't count as like a standalone movie. If you came in and that was the first Avengers movie you saw, you would leave. It's just very strange. So I think it works so well as its individual thing.
That's a good point too, because I think a lot of superhero movies now, especially what Marvel's done, is like Captain America's. I wouldn't consider that maybe a superhero movie right off the bat. That might be more like a political espionage movie.
Right.
That so happens to have a superhero. I think
Correct.
The Dark Knight, 1,000%, it's all superhero.
Yes.
So I would agree with that.
It's the best. It's the best characterization of Batman and Joker to have been put on the screen. As someone who owns way too much in Batman collectible comics and all.
Yeah, I'm surprised that wasn't your number one. I'm intrigued to see what it is. But first, we have to see what John's pick is here with the second overall pick.
Yeah, so you know, I was sort of, when I was looking at it, I was like, okay, I only get 6 movies to watch for the rest of my life. I need to sort of pick around the different moods I may have for the rest of my life, you know, because like this is it. This is all I get. This is my only entertainment. Right. Also, assuming we can't watch TV, we can't do other hobbies.
I think you'd still watch TV. You don't have to only watch these 6 movies and do nothing else for the rest of your life.
As my form of entertainment? Oh, well then.
You can still listen to music. You can play video games.
If you're watching like the NBA on TNT, there you go, and then a movie comes on afterwards, you gotta change it.
Yeah.
You can't even watch that movie that's been put on the TV.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. You can't watch movies on TV.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, I get that. So my first movie off the board is, I guess, right in the Chris Nolan realm, Inception. I was going right off the board.
Wow.
And
we gave Chris Nolan some shit, and now he's gone 1 and 2.
I feel dumb for that. When you guys mentioned that, I was like, oh man, I got. Yeesh.
Hey, you gotta stay true to your board, man. You gotta stay true to your board.
True. No, I'm definitely true to it. I picked it because it's, you know, one of those movies, like I won't get there yet, but the reason this movie is good is you can watch it 50 times and, you know, you either see something new or you still have no idea what the hell's going on at the end.
But there's big things happening on screen, right? And
Huge.
you're like, whoa!
Yeah.
It's the version of like you know, putting the little dangly feather in front of the cat. Like it's never gonna get old for the cat because it's just
I'll
like,
be that cat.
Things are happening. This is amazing. Yeah. I don't hate it. I wasn't gonna take it, so I feel like you.
Yeah, I wasn't either. Big reach. I did not have it on my board.
Wow.
You could have gotten Inception 6th round, I think, John. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Maybe. Yeah, I would have been eyeing it had it come down in the last round, but I don't think I was going to take it.
I mean, Inception is good. I think it has basically absolutely no place in being considered one of the 100 best movies of all time.
I think there is a better Chris Nolan movie that hasn't been taken so far.
It won't.
Okay.
It won't. But I thought we're picking movies for ourselves. Again, it's like super.
No, that's true. But, you know, like Preston and I do this every week. So we want to win the vote, you know?
Yeah, and we're just saying your tastes are bad and that nobody should like you. Yeah.
No, that's cool. I totally get
saying.
that. Yeah. No, I'll just go at myself. Sorry. I'll leave.
You got to wait. We need you to finish the draft, John. We can't let you leave right now. You still have 5 more picks to fuck up. But first, Preston has back-to-back picks here.
Yeah, so I was really struggling because I was hoping I would be able to get this set. Because it as a set of movies, like when people ask what my favorite movie is, this is what I throw out, and there's no hesitation.
Okay. I 100% know where you're going here.
Yeah, this has been my favorite movie since I think I was like 9 years old. And it's the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Now the question becomes, do I go for all 3? Or do I just take one and try and glean some lifelong satisfaction out of the one? And since we're starting at this point in our lives, I've seen all of them several times, obviously. So I think I'm just going to take one of them and go with what I think is the best standalone movie of the three, which is Fellowship, the first one. So I'm taking Fellowship of the Ring. Even though it comes in the rankings below Return of the King, I think those rankings are kind of informed by it being the finisher of the trilogy and not really like what works best as a standalone movie. Mm-hmm. But Fellowship of the Ring is my first round pick.
I knew that as soon as I took The Dark Knight and you looked your leaves, I knew that you're going to take Lord of the Rings.
Yes, this is a movie I could not live without. Like if I'm having to pick 6, this is where I would get scared if this got taken from me. So I feel pretty good about it.
It's a great pick. I mean, if I had the third pick, I would have absolutely double dipped in that franchise, no doubt. So solid pick. I have no critiques.
Well, I mean, he could still double dip.
I'm thinking now, like, do I take either Two Towers or Return of the King? I'll just tell everybody I would be taking Return of the King if I was going to do that.
Wow, shade to Two Towers, huh?
The logical choice.
Two Towers is the third best Lord of the Rings movie, which still makes it better than most other movies. So I don't think I'm gonna do that. Like, I just need some variety, and I've already seen it a ton of times. And listen, I can read the books. I think that's a value that we've got here, is I can go read the books.
Yeah, true.
Not the same, but I'm still getting my my satisfaction out of it. So now I'm kind of struggling here. I want to go in a wildly different direction, and I'm deciding between two. I'm going to take a movie that's come up on this show before that I only saw about 6 months ago for the first time. Daniel was very surprised by that.
I can't remember what it is.
I feel like this is going to be a bad pick. I'm going to throw it out anyways. Okay, here we go.
We'll get it out there then.
Confidence. I'm going to take It's a Wonderful Life.
No!
Wow.
God damn it! I thought for sure that was to come back around to
No,
me.
I've only seen that movie once. Like, legitimately only seen it once, which I find surprising because when I watched it, it's certainly older, right? It's probably it could be the oldest movie that gets drafted on this list, potentially.
Maybe the one that will get drafted. It's not the oldest on the list. There are several that are older.
No.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But looking at that, it's hard to not think this is like a near perfect movie. Like, it is, and if you're picking 6 movies to watch for the rest of your life, you want stuff that puts you in a certain mood.
It's the only Christmas movie on the list.
That is a movie that gets you into a, like I am valued as a human. Like, that's a very valuable thing to have in this eternity of only 6 movies. So I feel good about it, especially after seeing Daniel's reaction.
This is absolutely devastating to me. I thought there was absolutely no way that you would pick this. And I don't know John's movie taste as well, but I was pretty confident he would not have taken it in the first 2 rounds. It's the only Christmas movie on the list, and how important is it to be able to watch movies at Christmas? Like, that's such a huge part of Christmas, at least for me. And John and I cannot watch movies at Christmas time now. We just can't, and only Preston can. And that, not only that, good. Like it also is watchable any time of year. I mean, it just like it is a
just a fantastic
incredible
movie.
film. Yeah, outside of the Christmas thing, but also it's rewatchable. I watch it every single Christmas. Mm-hmm. So
it also, because of the vibe it gives me, especially as being an older movie, it immediately kind of eliminates like 5 or 6 other things on my list, because now I don't really necessarily need to fill that slot. And we can talk about that maybe in the second half. Yeah, I don't need to go as feel good anymore. I can take the real dark stuff now.
Yeah, this is maybe the most devastated I've been by a pick in the history of this show, if I'm being honest with you.
That feels good.
It does. It feels good for me as well, just to see Daniel devastated.
Just to watch him score.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, well, I can't believe you took that. I can't believe you took it.
I'm surprised too.
Shocked.
I'm surprised I picked a movie I've only seen once. That's kind of crazy to me.
I mean, there's kind of value in that. I'm not to give away anything, but I'm pretty strongly considering taking a movie I've never seen before.
Ooh. Just so you can watch it for the first time in this vacant hellscape we're painting for ourselves. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
Well, John, were you considering taking It's a Wonderful Life? Was that on your board?
It was on my board, but
would you have taken it?
Certainly not this high.
Yeah. I think I strongly considered taking it first overall. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Had you just to let people behind the curtain here, had you taken It's a Wonderful Life and Dark Knight had fallen to me, I would not have taken Dark Knight. I would have sat on it. So I think potentially long term, that's a mistake on your part.
I fucked myself right off the bat.
Because you could have gotten Dark Knight all the way back to you.
That shocks me. I know how much you love Batman. I thought for sure Dark Knight would be at the top of your board.
I can get my Batman in other ways, man. By the way, the Batman video games are better than any of the Batman movies that have been made. Like it's not that much of a hot take. Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight are better than any Batman movie that's ever been made.
Holy shit!
So I can just do that.
That's a hot take.
That's a hot take. I don't
think if you ask an actual Batman fan, that is a hot take. Like, it's the original voice actor from the animated series. It's Mark Hamill coming back as the Joker. The stories are so incredibly good, and then you get to like fly around as Batman. Like, I don't see that as being a super hot take.
Well,
my eyebrows are singed.
There's your bonus poll. There's your bonus poll, Dan, for the Twitter. I'm curious what people respond to.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down.
Would you rather have only Batman video games or only Batman everything else? Basically, is the question.
Probably video game. I would probably pick video games. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, we're gonna let the people. We're gonna let the people decide on that.
There's also just not that many Batman movies. Well, I guess. I mean,
if you throw in the animated stuff, a lot of that is pretty good, but doesn't beat the games.
Well, Preston just dropped his hottest take of all time, and then tried to act like it's not a hot take.
It's not.
John, how are you following up your Inception pick?
Man, I mean, I'm a little bit in a conundrum here. First of all, if that wasn't a hot take for you, I can't wait to hear what is coming up. Hopefully you got something. But
on the stream last week, I was just spitting them out like crazy, and people were coming at me.
That's true. Preston almost got into some fights with chat on the live stream.
Oh shoot!
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is a top 5 MCU movie. So for anybody that wants to know what the take was,
the second one,
which I stand by. Yeah, wholeheartedly.
Okay. Wow.
That's a whole nother show. You can come on next stream and we'll get into it.
Yeah. Okay, well, man. So I wanted to sort of, similar to Preston, go with Feel Good, but I have I don't know if one of these is going to get taken or not, but I know my Feel Good movie is not going to get taken, so I think what I'll do now is I'll just go Avengers End Game and just get it out of the way.
I was kind of hoping that would fall to me because I know Daniel has no interest in watching that at all.
Zero. No.
Yeah.
I'll probably never watch
the odds.
Well, that's a mistake on you. So I picked Endgame because I felt like if I had picked Infinity War first, anytime I would watch it over the rest of my life, the way that movie ends is just so sad. Awful. Everyone's dead. Mm-hmm. Everyone's crying. That's not how I want to live the rest of my life. I don't want to end up like crying for the wrong reasons at the end of the movie. There may be other movies I pick where I'm crying for the right reasons, but I pick Endgame because, you sort of see Infinity War within the movie.
Yes.
And then they all win at the end of the day. So you get the best of both worlds.
Not all of them.
Hey, are we
Daniel's
doing
still
spoilers
pissed about
here
his
or what?
boy. Daniel's still pissed about his boy getting the bad end of the stick on that one.
I mean, spoiler alert. I feel like everyone but me on the planet has seen it already, but the reason I don't really want to watch this is because Tony Stark dies.
Oh, I thought you were a big Vision guy.
No. I honestly, I just never really got hooked by the Marvel Cinematic Universe the way a lot of people did. But
okay.
we've explored that enough on the pod, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, I have back-to-back picks, and this is tough. This is like John touched on this earlier with like wanting to hit the different moods, and one of those like core key moods is funny comedies, and there are very, very, very few of them on the IMDb top 100,
limited selection,
which isn't really that surprising. I feel like non-animated, I feel like that there's a whole lot of value in the animated category that I will wait to take it because like you couldn't possibly take all the good animated movies before it gets back to my picks. So I feel like I'm going to take the most classic and most rewatchable of the comedies, even though it's not necessarily one of my favorite movies by any means. But again, I'm not even picking movies for myself in this draft, which usually is not my style. I'm just picking for votes. So I'm going to take Back to the Future as my comedy movie.
Ooh,
interesting.
Wow. Do you have a good Doc Brown impression?
Let's go,
Marty.
That was it. No, that's all you get. That's all you get, listeners. Yeah. That was it.
Limited fake.
Great Scott, Marty.
I mean, I think that's good. Was not on my board.
Really?
I got shown it when I was pretty little, and it was one of those things that never actually stuck with me, weirdly. Because I know it's good. I can like stand over here and recognize that all of those are very good and they're super fun, but it never actually stuck with me. And I feel like if you're going for the lighthearted adventure thing, I don't know, maybe there's a couple. Actually, I'm looking at my list now. There's none of those on there, so never mind.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think like I said, I mean, Back to the Future I would never even consider as one of my favorite movies. I wouldn't even put in the top 100 greatest movies of all time. But like, just the comedy category is so sparse,
Right?
So unbelievably sparse in this list that we're drafting from, and I thought just like Worlds in a Way was the most valuable of those movies that fit that category. So that's why I'm taking it.
When was the last time you saw Back to the Future?
I don't know. It's on TV like every other week, it seems. So I mean, it's been a while, but I'll watch. It's like a movie you can watch parts of. You know what I mean? It's a movie you can like. I'll watch it for 10 minutes.
That question is
of whatever basketball game. That
question John asks is usually followed up by "It doesn't hold up."
Yeah,
it's usually followed up. Yeah.
Oh, no. Is your favorite part the part where he hooks up with his mom, or the part where he has to go back to the future to hook up with his mom so that he doesn't hook up with his mom?
Listen, he doesn't go to the future to hook up with his mom. That's in the sequel. I'm not taking the sequel.
Right, he goes back to the future.
He also never actually hooks up with his mom. His mom just flirts with him. Okay, it's weird, and he finds it uncomfortable. He doesn't hook up with his mom. Also, I think it does hold up pretty well. It's not like uproariously funny. I mean, there are lots of funnier movies in the world, but none of them are on this list.
I think it holds up. I think it holds up fine.
It holds. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah, and there's like an undeniable sort of charm about Back to the Future too.
It is definitely that. Yeah.
Okay. Where do I go now? I think I have to go.
Take Joker.
I think I have to go with the Star Wars film now. I think I have to. I think they're. I don't know why John's laughing at me.
I said take Joker, and you didn't hear me.
Yeah.
Do it. Do it.
I'm not taking Joker. I'm not.
You wouldn't get it.
Yeah, you just don't even get it.
Is it? I don't. I really don't. The debate is which Star Wars movie do I take, and I think I take Star Wars. I think I take 5, which is generally regarded as the best Star Wars movie.
What other Star Wars made the list? Is it just 4 and 6?
4 and 6. The whole original trilogy are all on the list.
I think it's very appropriate.
If I recall, maybe only 4 and 5 were actually. Now that I think about it, 4 and 5 maybe the only 2.
6 was on there.
6 was on there. Okay.
Yeah.
4 is actually my personal favorite, and perhaps stands alone as its own movie a little bit better. But as a person, like since we agreed that I as a person have seen all of the other Star Wars movies, that I don't really need to watch the first one because I don't need it to be a standalone because I know what happens in Episode 4. So for that reason, I'm taking Star Wars Episode 5.
Out of the 2 options you had there, I think that's the better choice. I think it is better as a standalone, and the stuff you needed to get out of 4. You got it, right? You understand. Mm-hmm. It's the origin story part of it. So, I knew this was going to be picked. So this seems like the right spot for it to go.
Yeah,
I would have absolutely taken it had you not picked it there for sure.
Okay. Really? Wow. I had it. I had it. It was just a little bit lower on my list.
Are you a Star Wars hater, John?
I'm not a Star Wars hater at all.
Sounds like you're a Star Wars hater to me.
Let me get that out right now before people start coming.
Let it be known, Jon Wolf. Officially a Star Wars
noted
hater.
Star Wars hater.
Yeah, come for me.
Yeah, living at 123.
Yeah.
Main Street Lane.
Use the Force on me. Let me feel it. Let me feel the Force. No, but clearly I'm not going for the fan vote by picking Inception number 1. So I'll just voice my opinion here. Similar to what was said about the Batman sort of movies, I think all of the Star Wars, all of them, just in order, are bad. I think Rogue One was the best movie, and I think the animated shows are by far and away much better.
This is an insane take.
Preston, we're scrapping the episode. We're just not going to release an episode this week. And the Zoom meeting.
They're not good. They're not good. The acting is bad. Hayden Christensen is terrible at acting.
No one's saying the prequels are good.
We're not talking about the prequels here.
And I will say 4, 5, and 6, they're not good. I think maybe people.
Oh no!
And John was giving Preston grief for having a hot take on the Batman stuff.
This makes my take look like a cube of ice.
My God, man.
I say that with number 4 on my draft board, but they're not good because I think people just associate nostalgia to those movies.
No.
And I think that's why. And they do have some good storylines to them, but they're repeated in every single. It's just
so. See, I would I think there's an inclination of people out there to agree with you, but here's what I'm gonna say: there are so many people in my life that are like around my age before they'd ever seen a Star Wars movie, and then they suddenly go through and watch all of them. My brother's girlfriend Shelly is one of these people. Shout out! But
Shout out, Shelly.
Watched all of
Big
them in
shout out.
order and comes to the same conclusions about ranking them and how good they are that everybody else does. Like, the thing about Star Wars is they're almost made out of time. Like, they don't need to exist in, like, the 70s or early 2000s or whenever. People, like, the arc of the perception of those movies bends towards the same thing. Yes, thank you. And the animated shows are very good. But to say, no. And also, Rogue One, the last, like, 40 minutes, very good.
It's the same movie as, I think, Episode 4, if I'm not mistaken.
But
Rogue One. No, that was Episode 8, or whatever. I don't even remember.
Is that a they're all the same joke?
7.
Oh my god, shut up. Shut up. Okay, Rogue One, the last 40 minutes are very good, and it probably should have existed as just that, kind of like a single 1 hour thing. The first hour of that movie, if you go back and watch it again, awful. Not very good. None of it makes any sense. You don't really need to know any of those characters for the last 40 minutes to work.
You remember how it ends, and how it ends is great. I agree.
Great. But oh god,
but the build-up is a bit of a slog.
Bad.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy, John. That's absolutely crazy. It's the hottest take anyone has ever spouted on this show.
They're not great. Is that better?
No.
Should I have?
No.
I mean, I guess it's technically better, but no. I mean, you're still just dead wrong.
I want you to imagine this, that when we put out this episode, Daniel puts out a bonus poll, and it just says, Star Wars movies, : great, not great, and see how that would go.
Here's the thing.
And then put bad. And then we'll see which one.
Just put bad? One vote for bad.
But before we go any further into this awful Star Wars rabbit hole, John, you're dead to me, but what are you picking with your next pick?
Wow, I totally have just forgotten that we were drafting other movies.
This is actually a Star Wars podcast.
I thought this was a hot takeoff.
Well, you won that, my friend. So now we got to move on to this other thing.
Here's your trophy. It's a bunch of shit wrapped in tinfoil.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everyone out there. I want everyone out there to know I still love Star Wars. I don't like sock puppets.
It's way too late for that.
There's no coming
Your best bet is just to move on here and make another pick, and hope people can forget about that when it comes to the polls.
Just take Joker and go for the fan vote.
Now is the time to take Joker, if we're being honest.
I would, but I'd have to kill you.
Because you just don't get it.
Hey, you'd be doing both of us a favor then. Win-win for all of us.
So, my next movie, I think sometimes in life, maybe you have a bad day at work, something bad happens, and you just need to watch a movie or live vicariously through someone that you wish you could look like, wish you could be like, probably don't wish you could live like.
So you are taking
But
Joker.
watch them just beat a bunch of people up. So I'm going to pick Gladiator with my next pick.
Nice.
Ooh, okay.
I like it. That was definitely on my list.
Yeah.
It's a nice midway point where you can fill kind of the drama and the action slot a little bit at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is why
also
it's
very
an attractive
rewatchable
choice. Yes.
Yeah.
Supremely.
It's
more rewatchable than it has any business being, really. Because there are a lot of pretty heavy, frankly pretty awful parts in that movie, but for some reason, you just can watch it over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that bad. And it's a good one if you need to take a nap. You just throw that one on and pass right out.
Yeah, you know, when you can only watch 6 movies for the rest of your life, you want that one that puts you to sleep.
That puts you right to bed.
Exactly. Yeah, nothing says sleepy time like
the Gladiator
fighting and
like I'm fighting lions.
and imprisonment. Right.
Yeah, well, I don't know that I buy the reasoning necessarily so much, but I think it's a fine pick to take Gladiator there in the third round. Preston, how about you? You do have you have both your Lord of the Rings movies left there for you.
I can't do it. It just seems like kind of a waste. Like, I think they would actually be half of my top 6 if we were doing this for reals, but we're not. Okay. I have one more S tier movie left, but I am pretty thoroughly convinced it's going to stay on the board for quite some time. So I'm going to leave it. Take a gamble here. I'm going to take just what's one of my favorite movies, which is Silence of the Lambs. And it's a nice kind of category that you can fill in when you want the little bit of a thriller thing. I think there are a lot of movies on this list. Like, the IMDb top 100 is skewed towards murder, criminal, thriller. Like, there are a lot on there that wouldn't be on some other people's, like, Rotten Tomatoes list or something like that. Like, Seven's on there and a bunch of that. I think this is potentially the best one, so I'm going to take it.
Yeah, I think that's I mean, that has to be true. Silence of the Lambs, as much as it's not a favorite of mine personally, because of, like, I don't really appreciate, it's not my favorite genre. It's undeniably a great movie. It's been drafted in a previous draft, actually, when we did our
90s
Sue, the 90s film festival. Yeah.
Did I take it then too?
I feel like Sue took it. I know I didn't take it. It was either you or Sue took it. I wish I could remember which.
Well, either way, we can move along since I'm sure we talked about it at length in there.
We did.
Short version. Anthony Hopkins. Very good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the natural partner to Silence of the Lambs. These movies constantly go, hand in hand, and I'm going to take The Lion King.
Okay.
Ooh.
Nice.
Good pick.
This is like my 4 movies I have right now feels excellent. I feel like I am off to a fantastic start.
It's
Fellowship of the Ring,
strong.
Wonderful Life, Silence of the Lambs, Lion King. I'm hitting all over the board on this.
Yeah.
And as a movie watcher, I like to watch lots of different styles of stuff. So, like, this makes a lot of sense for me. I feel great about it.
Yeah, I mentioned that there's a lot of really strong picks in the animated.
Yeah. I think there are
category.
3 elite tier animated movies on here, maybe 4. So I
think there are more
could
than
have
that.
waited.
Actually, there are more than that, personally. No, but I think you get the best one available, and it really hits. It really hits a genre that you just don't even approach really with any of your other movies. So I really think this is a great pick. Getting Lion King, honestly, in the 4th round of this draft feels like a massive steal.
It's a steal.
Yeah.
First movie I ever saw in person, too.
Really? I don't know what the first movie I saw in person was.
I don't blame you. It'd probably be tough to remember.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen
like,
it
I don't
a lot
remember
of
it.
times, though.
In like a movie theater.
Yeah. In a movie.
Yeah, I assume that's what he meant, because I don't think he was there like while they were making the movie, presumably.
I might have been.
He's actually one of the extras. He's one of the antelope in the opening sequence.
Exactly. I play, if you look it up, Antelope 3 on the credits. Yeah.
Sports, good thing to see in person. Movies, maybe not so much. Just like see the months-long filmmaking process. Probably not the best way to see a movie.
Depends on the movie.
yeah, maybe so. John, what's your next pick here?
Well, my next pick was The Lion King, so that was a
snipe.
That was a snipe for me. Yeah. So I was kind of trying to get more in the feel-good animated sort of nostalgic category, and I was not surprised to see this one on the list. But I'm definitely taking it. I'm going to go Toy Story with my next pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This maybe begins the run of animated features here.
A very natural follow-up to The Lion King getting taken.
And now that I think about it, Daniel, you're right. There are a lot more than just 3 or 4 good animated ones on here. Because I was thinking it's like exclusively Disney, but there are a lot of great animated movies on here.
Yeah, there really are.
Yeah.
The one point of Lion King you left out, there's a lot of bangers.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, the sound.
Absolutely.
I think I should still be able to listen to the
eyeing
soundtrack of The Lion King without ever being able to watch it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but that's why it was on my. It had a good workout. It was high on my board.
Yeah. But yeah, I both of those are great picks. 2 of the best animated movies of all time. If not the 2 best ones.
Well, last week on the stream, you claimed that a different movie on this list was the best Pixar film.
Okay, well, so I said specifically that I buy the argument that it is. It's if you remove nostalgia, which is virtually impossible to remove. So I would pick Toy Story for a list like this. I would always pick Toy Story first of the Pixar movies.
Gotcha.
I think objectively it might not be the best one. I think there is one that is on this list, so I won't mention it. But it's possible. It's in the conversation, which is amazing considering how nostalgic Toy Story is for me.
It's Joker.
I am not Joker. Yes. How did you know? I am going to end the run of animated movies here by taking a movie that I have that also fits a category that isn't really hit with very many other movies. You could kind of put it in thriller, but it's actually listed as a horror movie. One of the very few, if not the only horror movie, like pure straight up horror movie on the list, and that is Alien.
Ooh.
So I'm taking Alien. I feel thrilled to get in the fourth round. Actually, and I mentioned earlier that I was considering taking a movie that I've never seen before. I have never seen Alien. I'm not a big horror movie guy, but I know that it's an absolute classic. Both John and Preston were both shocked and revolted to hear that I've not seen Alien. I don't
not
like scary
revolted.
movies.
Scary movies is one of those things you get a pass on, because if you're not a scary movie guy and you haven't
you.
seen something that's a cult classic, like it makes a lot more sense. It makes a lot more sense than hating all Star Wars movies. Let's just put it that way.
I didn't say I hate them either.
You said they were bad.
Great.
You said that they were straight up bad.
This is how this podcast works. You put a take out, and then in the next hour, it gets immediately torn away from you. And
you come on our show, we twist your words and make you feel bad about yourself, and then we hope you come back. That's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
All right.
But yeah, so I take Alien here. I mean, even as a horror movie goes, I mean, this one is an absolute classic. It transcends the genre, and that way it feels very, very rewatchable, even to someone who does not really enjoy horror movies. So I feel very good to take it, and I know that a lot of horror people are going to see Alien and want to draft my list or vote for my list because of that.
Yes. Also, horror action probably too. So you're hitting a couple different categories. Which we've talked about a few times. Yeah.
I will say sci-fi is extraordinarily prevalent on my list though right now, with Back to the Future, Star Wars, and Alien.
Ooh, yeah.
It's not a bad list though.
It's not right. It's not a bad list. Okay, now I'm trying to remember which of Preston's Lord of the Rings movies he said was better than the other one.
He said the Two Towers. Definitely pick that.
Yeah, no, I remember that he said Two Towers was the worst. No, I'm not going to take Lord of the Rings, which may hurt me. I now I think after 3 of my 4 picks really just have nothing to me at all. I have to now take a very personal pick, which is Good Will Hunting. This is my feel good movie. It is
really,
yeah. I mean, it's very emotional, but it ends very positively. It ends with a very strong, overwhelming sense of hope. I think Good Will Hunting does. Spoiler alert: if you've not seen Good Will Hunting. I think it's immensely rewatchable with like lots of very iconic acting performances, and it's just great. I love this movie. Depending on when you ask me, if you ask me what my favorite movie is, most of the time I'm going to tell you it's Good Will Hunting. So I think I have to take it here in round number 5, and I still think there's so many animated movies that I'm going to get a really good one with my last pick. So that's why I'm taking Good Will Hunting here.
I think you will get a good one with your last pick, and you've successfully moved away from sci-fi in a pretty stark way.
Yes.
So I like it. It's a great movie. It's not one of mine. Was not on my list. But if I was picking for populism, it would probably be on my list.
It resonates. It's a movie that resonates.
And it's got funny accents.
It does. That's the thing. It's kind of funny. It's got like everything you could ever want out of a good movie. So that's why I'm taking it. John, your penultimate pick now.
You sniped another one from me.
Hey!
There we go.
We're just wrecking them.
Alien or Good Will Hunting?
Good Will Hunting.
Nice.
Yeah. That was going to be my feel good to wrap it up. But you mentioned funny accents, so I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to pick The Departed.
Nice. I was thinking about this as I was trying to put either The Departed or Goodfellas on my list, and I was struggling to decide. I think they're both very good, but I think that's an interesting debate. I think I would probably eventually settle on The Departed. But
I think Departed is much more much more rewatchable than Goodfellas, personally.
Agreed.
Like Goodfellas just at a lot of times feels like it drags. Like Goodfellas feels so long, and I know The Departed is also a very long movie. The thing for The Departed with me is like, it kind of takes a toll on you to watch. That's kind of how I feel about The Departed. You know, like I don't know how frequently I'd be going back to rewatch.
You got to watch Martin Sheen be thrown off a building.
It's rough.
It's not an easy thing to do.
You gotta spoiler alert. You gotta see Leo DiCaprio die, and like that. That's fucking rough, and it's shocking, and I feel like it's shocking every single time you watch it. You're like, God damn it, Leo, don't die this time. Don't fucking die this time, and he does every time.
That is true, but I also took like Silence of the Lambs, and you took Alien, so like shocking and hard to watch has its
fair.
value.
Yeah. That's fair. I think it's I don't know. There's something about The Departed that just like really just feels like immensely heavy to me. I can't quite put my finger on it, but like it's just a rough watch. It's exceptionally good, but just parts of it are kind of rough to watch. You know what I mean?
And maybe in some universe, you know, you double down and call it a sequel, and you go The Departed right into Inception, and you've got a movie on there.
Wow.
Part of the same cinematic universe?
How does that work? Was The Departed all a dream inside Leonardo DiCaprio's head? And that's why he wakes up at the beginning of Inception.
Shit.
Whoa.
Yeah, that could be it.
Holy
he was
shit.
a co-op. He was a co-op, and then
a co-op.
bang. And now he's a dream hunter.
What the hell's a co-op?
This is a cop. But in the accent.
A co-op.
He's a co-op.
A co-op.
Are you a
He's
co-op?
A co-op.
Yeah.
That's your Boston accent, huh?
Go to Boston, man.
Yeah, read a book, Dan.
Yeah, you know, they're just how Boston is crawling with co-ops.
With co-ops.
Preston got it. I genuinely had no idea what you were even getting at. He's a good co-op. Preston, you got your last two picks.
Okay. All right, last two. I feel great about this because my last S-tier movie
your team. I gotta give it to you, Preston. Your team is really strong here.
I know. I just gotta not fuck it up.
If you don't blow it with these last two picks, then you got a real good shot on the poll.
This is great because this is
always
when I blow it. This is always when I blow it. Okay, I want to take the mountain. No, this is always when I just absolutely bungle it. So I'm struggling between two. So I think I'm just going to take the higher rated of the two, and that almost like removes myself from the equation. Mm-hmm. And the higher rated is, in fact, the highest rated, and I'm going to take Shawshank Redemption.
Wow.
I have Fellowship, which is like high fantasy. I guess you'd call it drama. It's like action, really, but like Shawshank Redemption is drama in like the best way. It's funny, it's heartwarming, it's sad, it's everything you want, and there's a reason I think it's number one on the IMDb Top 100. So I'm super happy. I got the best rated movie on IMDb in the 5th round. So I feel that
is crazy. I think the reason I was hesitant to take it is because, again, it's not a movie that I want to watch super frequently. It's like another one that takes a toll on you to watch in a lot of ways. Even though this one does end much more happily than The Departed.
Correct.
But you're right. I've been getting, and like lots of movies, you'll see where they rank on this list, and they'll make you scratch your head. The Shawshank Redemption does not. Like, lots and lots of people will tell you that The Shawshank Redemption is the greatest movie of all time. And you're right. The fact that you get the greatest movie of all time, arguably, in the 5th round, just another really just great pick for Preston.
Okay, and this is where I think the two of you are going to disagree with me, but I'm going to stay true to myself. I'll probably win some votes on Twitter with this, and that's kind of what you want in a final round pick. You want to take a little bit of a risk. There's also a potential that you guys don't let me take it somehow, but I'm going to try it anyways. And I want to take Hamilton.
No, you can't.
Now, it's on the list. It's number 39. So this movie, quote unquote, movie.
It's a movie. It's a movie.
I mean, I guess it's a movie. I've watched it probably 7 times, and I've listened to the soundtrack a whole lot more than that. A lot of times, Lauren and I we just put it on in the background, kind of like you'd put like an album on in the background, and we just kind of let it run while we're doing chores around the house or something. And I know not all the words because that's impossible, although Lauren would argue it's not. I know most of the words. It's really good, and I feel like with Lion King and Hamilton, I've got like the musical alley just like absolutely thrashed. So I feel great about it. This was almost my exact top 6. I potentially would have switched Avengers End Game for something, but now that was taken, I actually think that ended up working out in my favor, and I got a really solid 6.
John, do you have thoughts on Hamilton? Because I definitely do.
Yeah, I mean, you got us.
Oh, see,
that was good.
I disagree.
You don't like it?
No,
I mean, it's good. I mean,
Hamilton is good. I think it's massively overrated.
Wow. You should know you're arguing with a little something you might want to call the Tonys over here, but listen.
No,
go ahead. Go off. Go off, Dan. Let's hear it.
Hamilton is very good, okay? It is very good. I will never try to take it away from that. But like people, namely white people, lost their fucking minds over it. And I don't think it quite deserved the reception it received. Mostly because the lead singer in it is not that good of a singer and is like clearly the worst guy in the entire thing. And it is noticeable and sticks out like a sore thumb in my humble opinion.
No, you are correct. It potentially would have been a better show had he not cast himself as the lead.
No, I think not even potentially. I think it like inarguably would have been a better show if he had cast someone else in it. I think Hamilton is a good pick here because I think people will see Hamilton, and because of what I said, because of how much people lose their fucking minds to Hamilton, will vote for it. The thing is, with Hamilton, you can listen to the soundtrack. You don't have to watch the movie. Now, I will grant you that watching it like does add an extra dimension, but like I can listen to the soundtrack, and even better, I can listen to the like handful of songs that I think are actually good in it, and don't have to deal with all like the 2.5 hour long experience of watching the stuff I don't really care about, etc.
That's why
I would have taken Hamilton.
That's what made me hesitant. Is there's like very blatantly another way to experience it, and not even to say like eventually when it starts to have more prominence as musicals do over time, you could see it at your local theater. Like it wouldn't be the original cast, but you could just go see it, and it wouldn't be a movie.
Yeah.
So like that's what made me super hesitant on it. I'm still a little worried about that, but I think on the vote, people aren't going to value that
I think people will gut reaction vote for it without really thinking about it.
And I think out of everything else I was looking at, it was so clearly far and away something that I thought had more value to it.
It's interesting you mentioned the theater component, and I'm ready to completely be disliked by all of your listeners.
Well, I mean, I think you're already beyond that point of no return, so you might as well.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, what good is 6 feet under when you can go for a full 10? Let's go.
I kind of agree with Daniel on Lin-Manuel Miranda. I had the opportunity to go see it on Broadway a couple years ago.
This New York living guy.
I know. With a guy who was actually way better than Lin-Manuel
okay.
Miranda.
So I thought you were going to say that you saw original cast.
No.
You're like, listen, Lin-Manuel Miranda sucks even more when you see it live.
Yeah, no. He was way better, so it's interesting now that I think about it. I had some time to really soak it in to hear Daniel rant for like 10 minutes about how much he hates Hamilton, he hates white people.
I do hate white people. Daniel. I will not even try to walk that back.
Look in a mirror, guy. It made me think, did you waste a pick on Hamilton when you could just go see it in theater or download the CD and then you could have had Joker?
I could have had Joker. You're right. Which arguably has a better musical number too in it, right? With the stair scene and all that. So you're right. I could have gotten my musical with Joker, but no, I wasn't that big brained.
If you couldn't pick up by now, we all think it's absurd that Joker is in this list of 100 best movies. Isn't it like in the top 50 even?
I will find you an exact
Is it not top
number.
50? Yeah. Can we get the exact ranking? But yeah, I mean, like back to Hamilton to stall for Preston while he looks up where
54.
Very close to top 50. I mean, that's
insane.
ridiculous.
It's above Into the Spider-Verse, which is a travesty.
Yeah,
it's above Avengers End Game.
Yeah, that's sad. But look at the Metascore. That's another like subtle detail to these IMDb ratings, right? Is this Metascore that's next to the star rating? So the Joker is the only yellow Metascore on here because it is so low.
So low.
It's incredible.
That's really all you need to know about the IMDb ranking community is the disparity between those two
that's
rankings.
Facts. But there are still good movies here.
Yes.
So John, are we to understand that you're not taking Joker with your final pick?
I mean, how great would that be? We just make fun of it the whole time, and then I just snag it.
I gotta say, it would be very
pick.
in character for you at this point.
Yeah, well, that's true. I guess I kind of have to like go all in on this little bit or this character of being hated by everyone. No, So I think with my last pick, it was sort of teased a little bit, floated out there, but I think I'm going to snag it up. It's a great movie.
Snag it up, dude.
Has everything I'm looking for. I'm going to go Fellowship of the Ring.
Wait. I took Fellowship.
Oh, wait, sorry. No, Return of the King.
Okay.
Return of the King. Yeah. Fellowship was higher on my draft board. That's why I said it. And then
that does kind of suck that I'm going to be watching Fellowship all the time, and he's just going to be like, oh, wish I could lend it to you, but those are the rules. That sucks.
If you wanted to trade, we could.
No trades. No swaps.
I mean,
that seems like great value to me. Getting similar, the same universe, 5 rounds later than Preston.
Yeah, it's good value. I do think Fellowship as a standalone movie is better, but it's still
no doubt
really good. I mean, I'm talking about the differences between my 3 favorite movies, like, of all time. So saying one is better than the other is kind of dumb. So I like the pick.
It's a shame John torpedoed his draft with that first round Inception pick, though. Doesn't even matter at this point.
It's very strange.
We'll
get into it.
We'll let the fans decide.
That's true.
It's almost this happens all the time with at least one of us per episode, where if you flip the draft upside down, it would make more sense.
Yeah.
Than if you looked at it the right way up.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my final pick, I have to go animated here. It is a shame. I will say that I'm not going to go musical. I could take Coco, which was the movie we alluded to earlier that I think is arguably the best Pixar movie. I do love Coco. Yeah. It also gives me a Halloween movie to watch. But I think nice. I think I have to go Spirited Away here as the best animated movie on the board, just straight up.
You're going to win some votes with that pick, too.
I hope so. I really hope so. I mean, I absolutely adore Miyazaki. He has, I think, only one other movie on the top 100. Now, if you want to talk about directors that should have more movies in the top 100, I think Miyazaki is right up there. So many of his movies are classics, and he had such an immense impact on my childhood that it really would be a shame if I didn't have a single movie there. So, while you guys got The Lion King and Toy Story, which are inarguably phenomenal movies, I'm happy to get Spirited Away with the very final pick of the draft. That feels like really good value to me.
The other movie he has on here, it looks like, is Princess Mononoke.
Which is also great.
Yes.
But I think probably a little less rewatchable than Spirited Away, which many people regard as the best Miyazaki movie. So
I think that's a very solid value. You're getting in the last round there.
Yeah, I agree.
Great value, and I will say I'm super relieved to hear that you thought Coco was the best Pixar movie, because I thought you were going to say WALL-E.
No, I'm actually pretty low on WALL-E, personally.
Yeah.
It's weirdly, it's actually Cars 3. So both of you.
Cars 3 is my favorite
Lightning McQueen.
Right, it's my second favorite movie overall behind Joker. Those are my top 2.
Now I know you're lying.
All right, well, that wraps up the draft. I end up with The Dark Knight, Back to the Future, Star Wars Episode 5, Alien, Good Will Hunting, and Spirited Away. John, in his first ever draft on the show, ends up with Inception, Avengers End Game, Gladiator, Toy Story, The Departed, and Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Preston ends up with Fellowship of the Ring, It's a Wonderful Life, Silence of the Lambs, The Lion King, Shawshank Redemption, and Hamilton. We're going to take a quick break and be back to break those picks down in just a second. All right, we are back, and as always, I'm going to ask you guys some questions about the picks. Preston, why don't we start with you? What was the movie that you had lined up as like something you wanted to take, but for whatever reason just kind of ran out of room for it?
So I had a couple that I was thinking about taking instead of Hamilton, because we talked about the concern of like Hamilton's available in other places. Mm-hmm. Thought about Coco, which I might buy your argument that is the best Pixar movie. It's really dang good. I had Django Unchained, and I had Amadeus. Mm-hmm. Which I personally love Amadeus. I can't see anybody else voting for Amadeus, though. It's like 3 hours long. I really like it because I'm a classical music nerd. And then one that is like a huge sleeper, but if we go until like 9 or 10 picks, I'm absolutely taking, is Into the Spider-Verse, which is like just so freaking good. Yeah, I could watch that several times and never get bored of it.
That was one of the ones that I had in my elite tier of animated movies with a couple of others. John, what about you? Was there anything that you were super high on that didn't get picked?
Yeah, I also had Coco and Into the Spider-Verse, sort of on my draft board, and then I also had Django Unchained.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure once because I actually my draft board was set up for movies that I like to watch personally, like my favorite movies, and then once you guys started talking about sort of the popular vote, I was like, wow, I'm not popular. And I need to scramble on the draft room here to get some fans quick.
Yeah.
Because I was drowning and then continued to drown and then dug a hole under the pool to keep drowning in. But so I picked Django. I had Django Unchained actually in my top 6. And I was a little surprised that no one picked it.
Yeah, you should have taken it over Inception, I think, personally. Django is also on my list. It also feels like I strongly consider going like Western genre, like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is also a really great movie.
Right.
The problem with Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is it's so long. It's like it's hard to call it rewatchable, really. But Django Unchained like hits all the Western notes. It's also funny, and like it's a very unique flavor of a movie that none of the movies picked really. The one that I really wanted to take and just kind of like genuinely just didn't have enough spots for it was Casablanca. It's another one that I've never seen, but I've just never gotten around to seeing it. But I feel like I know I would love it. So it would kind of hit that like, I would still have a movie that I could watch that I've never seen. I did kind of get that with Alien, but I think like Casablanca would hit like the romance motif that actually
melodrama.
Yeah. When I go to for movies, but I felt like I don't know if I'm regretting it now, but I feel like I got a little too bogged down in like picking movies that I think other people would vote for rather than like the movies that I would pick for myself. Maybe I'll regret that. We'll have to see when the vote comes around. And kind of in that same vein, what was the worst pick of the draft, boys?
So I've got one from each team here to make everybody feel equally dogged on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
So I think mine was probably Hamilton because it's available other places. Love Hamilton, but it's available other places.
If your worst pick is your last pick, you're doing pretty good.
Then I feel good about that.
That's pretty good.
For John, it was Inception, I think. Not because I think Inception is bad, but like I don't think Daniel and I were going to take it. We were not going to take it. Yeah, so I think it would have just made it to you significantly later. And then for Daniel's, Back to the Future strikes me as very strange. I don't know why. I think the word you used is charming, and you're absolutely right there. But I don't know. I feel like there's more on here where you could have gotten that heroic feel good vibe.
I took it too high, I think. And like I said, I didn't even take it for that necessarily. I took it for the comedy, just because I felt like that there's so few comedies. But like, if you put like The Lion King and Toy Story into the comedy range, which you probably should, at least in terms of like overlapping genres. I love both of those movies way more than I love Back to the Future. So I'm hoping that there's gonna be people, and like probably the thing is, I think the mistake I made really with Back to the Future is like the people that love Back to the Future probably don't listen to the podcast, because like people that listen to podcasts are our age and don't have that affinity for the show or for the movie, I should say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the worst pick was probably Back to the Future or Inception, one of the two. Now that we've discussed picks we wish we could have made, worst picks. Who, I always ask this question. I never answer first. I'll answer first this time. And the question is, of course, who won the draft? I think it's not even close, to be quite honest with you. I think Preston fucking smashed this draft. I think Hamilton, I would not have taken Hamilton personally for reasons that I laid out. I can get everything that I want from Hamilton through non-movie media.
Yeah.
But his first 5 picks are like unquestionably incredible. Like, I don't know. I feel like those first 5 picks could have been like the first 8 picks of the draft, and no one would have batted like it was all within the first 8, and no one would have batted an eye. I feel like he just got good value after good value after good value. So Preston, I think this is the best draft you've done on this show, to be quite honest with you.
Wow. So now we know if I lose the poll, we're launching a full investigation into voting procedures, because this has to be rigged at this point.
Well,
I thought I won the Harry Potter one. And then I don't think I did.
Yeah, I think you should have won the Harry Potter one, to be quite honest with you.
But this has to be the one, right?
And I would also pick you here, Preston. It was an incredible draft.
I think
you hit it spot on.
I really think this was an absolute masterclass by Preston. I should have known this was going to happen. No, you didn't. You really didn't.
You even told me that to not blow it, and I still didn't blow it.
You still
which
didn't
is
blow it.
impressive.
No.
I'm still like so upset with the It's a Wonderful Life pick. I really am. I really didn't think that there was even a remote chance that you would take it in the second round. And I thought for sure, like, oh, I'm going to win the draft in the second round because I'm going to take It's a Wonderful Life, and it's literally the only Christmas movie. But you didn't. You sniped it. You took
And
it
I
right
didn't
where it
even
should have
think
gone.
about the Christmas aspect of it. I just realized when I'm looking at my list that older movies I kind of naturally put down lower, and movies I hadn't seen very much, and I wanted to get one of those early. The other one I had on here was Singing in the Rain, which is my feel good kind of, when I used to have colds, my mother would put that on kind of movie. But I wanted to get one of those older movies super early, but I honestly didn't even occur to me to pick a Christmas movie, considering it is May right now and it's not really on my mind. There should be more than one Christmas movie on that list.
There's not.
What would be the other?
Yeah,
Christmas
I mean,
movie
I feel like
in the
there
top
shouldn't be
100?
another Christmas movie. I mean, I love Christmas movies, but none of them are like top 100 movies of all time.
It feels weird to me that with the vibe of IMDb that Elf is not in the top 100. No, I'm not saying
Or
it is.
Die
I'm
Hard.
just saying it should be on there.
Die Hard with all the other movies that are on there.
Yeah,
I'm surprised.
Get
that's
outta
not
here
John,
with
I have
your
to say, I'm going to
stupid
out
Die
John
Hard
here.
ticks.
When I was texting John earlier today, when we were telling him what the draft was going to be, he's like, I got to find a way to take Hobbs and Shaw. He was upset that Hobbs and Shaw was on the IMDb top 100. So I do apologize for that, John. He was thrown through a loop. His number one movie wasn't on the list. It's hard to bounce back from
Yeah,
that.
that was tough. Well, I mean, I mean, my top 9 movies weren't on the list. Honestly, I mean, Fast and
John,
Furious
you can
1,
come
2,
back
Hobbs
and we'll
Shaw.
do a full ranking of every Fast and Furious movie,
Oh my god!
which
you know,
is another
you guys
thing
want to know
I'm
how many?
super well equipped to do.
You guys want to know how many
Yeah,
how many Fast and Furious movies I've seen?
I'm going to say 0.
Don't
knowing
say
you.
0. Don't say
That's
that.
a fat 0. For me.
Really?
I've
Yeah.
seen half of one on a hotel TV.
Oh, that's just the
That's-
ideal way to watch. In halves
That's-
at different
It's just
hotels.
they're just not movies for me. You know, they're just not.
How? But you've never seen it.
I know, but
Yeah.
I mean, come on, you don't have to have seen Fast and Furious to have seen the Fast and Furious.
Oh my god.
Okay, so Daniel, we've discovered today that you hate white people.
Yeah, we
you-
did not discover that today,
You,
my friend. Okay,
You forgot that Dia de los Muertos is not Halloween.
Oh, you really bungled
You can't
that,
say
though. That really
you
nullified your
can't.
point.
Yeah, I did. You can't say Casablanca, and then now you also
isn't
hate
it? I'm
family.
pretty sure it's
You hate
Casablanca.
Familia.
People call it Casablanca.
If you're from Minnesota, it is.
Oh, come on.
Casablanca.
Give me a break. Did I say Casablanca? What people say Casablanca too?
Wow.
I'm pretty sure John is saying it wrong. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
He just
This
he
is our
repeated
7th
himself.
bonus poll of the episode.
Yeah, we'll
How do
let
you
the
say
fans decide.
Casablanca?
Yeah, do a phonetic poll of Casablanca.
And let me tell you, if the listeners are going to agree with anyone, it's going to be me. I'll tell you that right now.
It's gonna be you.
Yeah.
He
It's
who
'cause he's
says
gonna-
Star Wars
he's
movies are
gonna
the worst
send-
movies of all time.
It's because he's going to send the poll to every starting point guard in the NBA, and they're all
Yeah.
going to retweet it.
No.
I mean, there's
Every
only
single one of
what
them.
30 of them.
Yeah, that doesn't help me too much.
Well, John, all jokes aside, thank you so much for joining us, man. It was great to have you on. We hope you enjoyed your time with us.
No, yeah, it was awesome. Thanks for having me, and hope to maybe one day do it again if I'm not.
How
killed
should
by
people
one of those
contact
things.
you if they like Star Wars? How should people contact you?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you love Star Wars, if you agree with me on Star Wars, feel free to follow me on the social medias at Jon B. Wolf. There's
The letter
no
B.
H in John. Yeah, B as in better not like Star Wars. So it is JONBWOLF on pretty much every social media.
Yeah, we're cutting that. I just hope you know. No one's gonna follow you.
That's no problem.
But
This
yeah,
show's not
be
for
sure,
you, John. Come on now, get it together.
do follow John. He's a very funny guy. I've been friends with him for a long time, like I said, and we were on. This is like old times for me because John and I, my first career podcast was with John and another John, and that was good times. But yeah, be sure to follow John. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at DraftedPod, where you will be able to vote for the winner of this week's show. Follow us on Instagram. We're Instagram.com/DraftedPod. I'm on Facebook, Facebook.com/DraftedPod. Join the Discord. The link to that will be in the show description. And if you would be so kind, we would immensely appreciate it to support us on Patreon at patreon.com/draftedpod. We got our first ever super VIP tier patron, and he didn't want to be shouted out as is promised as a reward for that tier. But that meant a lot to us. So big thank you and big shout out to you know who. But otherwise, Preston and myself. Preston, you have any final words before we tell the listeners we're going to see him next week?
Just know, if you're a listener and you're thinking, should I go on the Patreon and find the extended version of this episode? The answer is yes. I can tell you while we're still recording, I'm going to cut about a half hour of what we've done here, and it's all good.
Yeah, that is factually correct. All right, on that note, we'll talk to you next week.